The Kings make it 7 in a row in Chicago. They look to get greedy and make it 3 in a row, 8 in a row, 8 in a row total, 3 in a row on this road trip on Tuesday in Milwaukee. We talk about this one on the other side. Get involved. Want to hear from you. Welcome in to the Postgame show here on If You Don't Like That.
Late nights on the screen, hey, it's Grant and Ryan. We bleed purple, talking hoops, never lying. Sacramento Kings, we rise and we fall. If you don't like that, then you don't know ball. Jerry sitting with the stories of the game, spilling all the truth, driving legends insane. From the Cow Palace days to Arco's roar, this town's heart beats on the hardwood floor. If you don't like that, turn away now. Kings in our blood, we ride strong and proud. Running up the score, Kings never back down. If you don't like that, this ain't your town.
And welcome in, Ryan in Sacktown with you, taking you home today. The Kings win 124-119 over the Chicago Bulls. 7 straight for this team. Now, look at what they are doing. What is next for them? They do it with a massive third quarter, a third quarter that changed the game altogether. 36 points in the third. However, they give up 32. 3 out of 4 quarters, they give up 30 points to the Bulls. But if you were with us at halftime, Jerry Reynolds said he wanted to see some more zone defense. The Kings finally throw some zone at him right around the 4-minute mark of the third quarter. It was a different look for Zach LaVine, a different look for that Bulls team altogether. The Kings defended it well. They go on a little bit of run. De'Aaron hits a 3 at the buzzer. They end up going 6 for 13 in that period from beyond the arc after only shooting 22+% in the first half. All in all, they scrap it out with the Bulls to now move over, are we kidding me? Over 500 for this basketball team, and they look to go 3-0 against the guys on this road trip. You've now beaten probably what was arguably the hardest game of this trip, this one. After beating Boston the way that you did, now you look to go to Milwaukee, make it 3-0, 7 in a row. We're here from you. Want to hear from you today. So let's kick it off right now with the phone calls. Michael Guerrero, what's going on today, buddy?
What's happening? What's happening, Ryan?
What's up, bud? How you doing?
Yeah, we're doing good. Before the game, and it's a devastating scene in Palisade Fire. Yeah, I want to give my thoughts and prayers for the victims. They're dealing with this difficult time. It's very, very hard. It's bigger than basketball. I feel so bad for JJ Redick. He's dealing with this difficult time.
Absolutely. You know? We've been talking about it all week. It's really something that's impossible to wrap your arms around.
You just can't even imagine.
Unless you've been through something like this, and the Palisades Fire, the worst in the history of Los Angeles.
I think since 2018. I've never seen anything like that since 2018.
The worst. It's the worst in the history of Los Angeles.
Wow. Yeah. And now back to the game. Speaking of game, it's great that we won 7 in a row. I think this team seems like they're more energetic under Doug Christie. You know, I think Doug Christie provides fire for this team.
No, of course he does. Yeah, he's letting them play. They're going out there, and in the first half, Michael, they got beat to the 50-50 balls. The second half, they turned that around. I mean, Zach LaVine did what he was going to do, but luckily, the Kings were able to kind of shut everybody else off. Yeah, Josh Giddey missed some bunnies towards the end of the game there, but all in all, man, you gotta be happy if you are
this
the
is
Kings.
A really good
you
win.
are a game over 500.
This is a really good win, especially game over 500 after starting 13-19. Looked like it was going to be a down year, but it looks like the Kings are right back. I think, we're playing Milwaukee next. I'm not going to be surprised if we win against Milwaukee based on the momentum we have. We'll see. I wouldn't be shocked because the energy is there.
Well, that's kind of the key to this really quick. And Michael, thank you for the call. Appreciate it,
Yeah.
brother. Thanks for kicking us off, bat and lead off. That's kind of the key to this. During the Doug Christie era, we know what this team does best, or at least through this 7-game win streak. We have an idea of the style they want to play, but can they play other styles? If their threes aren't falling, and again, tonight for the game, they end up shooting 33.3%. But I go back to that third quarter, the Kings shot 6 of 13 there, and they shot it pretty well in the fourth quarter, too. I'm waiting for those stats to load up via NBA.com. But when those aren't falling, what else can you do? And it was second chance points tonight. The Kings were all over the place in the second half. I've got some thoughts on the game overall, some good, some bad, what to look for. But in the meantime, light the damn beam. The Kings move to a game over 500 with a 124-119 win over the Chicago Bulls. Let's kick it to Dirk. What's going on, Dirk?
Whew, that was a good game. I mean, regardless of how you feel, I've still got too much energy. The adrenaline dump at that one.
Yeah.
When Zach LaVine was going off, I started wondering where's Keon, right? And looking at his minutes, I'm like, okay, I get the rotations are tough, but you can see there's a dip in energy. No one's picking him up full court. And then Keon's first possession on him, you could see he misses the three, right? And he did hit some threes on Keon, but I thought that was such impactful play and a very smart decision by Doug at this point. It took the team to realize, okay, Zach LaVine is going to take the shot. It doesn't matter. If he's not open for three, he's going to penetrate. And the whole team started collapsing on just him. And it came, that's when he just started messing up. And then you could see it again and again and again, not able to make that happen. I just thought I'm more hyped for this one than I am Boston, honestly, just because this was a game you could lose. The opponent shot 49% from three. And he found a way to win.
Yeah, 100%. This has loss all over it for numerous reasons. It's an earlier in the day game. The Kings usually aren't great at those. You're getting De'Aaron Fox back. How's that going to take away from minutes? How's that going to mesh with flow? And look, it looked like a game they were going to lose, quite frankly. But yet they pull it out. I don't know if you had to, and I'll pose this to everybody in the chat and you, Dirk, if you had to describe this team over the last 7 games in one word, what would it be?
Free. Liberated. That's what I'd say. They're liberated.
All right.
I challenge anyone to come up with a better word to describe this team than liberated. Because it sounds like Doug Christie just got out of their way. That's what I'm gathering. Like, let them play. Doug apparently shouting, play. Like, don't forget you're playing ball. Just do what you know what to do, and you're good. And I will challenge you on that premise. Like, this game had L all over it. Mm-hmm. I didn't feel that for 1 second of this game. We always had, look how easily we were scoring inside. I will say this, doesn't it feel
they
like
dominated in the paint.
Doesn't it feel like if the Bulls had a shot blocking center, they'd be real dangerous?
Yes and no, because you had no Kobe White tonight, possibly. It depends on whether Levine's going to be on or off. And I mean, the last 6, he scored 30 or more. So he's been on more than he's been off lately.
I mean, a lot of guys beyond him were making shots. Like Lonzo was hitting threes. And we must have some plan to let Giddey get layups. Once we stop giving him, wide open looks, any degree of presence in his peripheral vision, he fumbled the ball, which I expected to happen once we picked that up. And we made those changes. Maybe they don't happen as early as you want them to, but man, I am impressed with this win. I felt like this team could turn it on when they needed to, and they did, and that's, to me, like, I have faith in this team. I'm like, this is a good team. Like, I think this is that top 6 team, just how they played tonight. And, they let things go maybe a little more than they should, and letting Zach go off. But when it mattered, guys were hitting clutch free throws. Even Fox played a big part in this, hitting his free throws late. I thought this team kind of worked all together. The only problem they have is there's just not enough minutes for all the guards.
Yeah, and Doug's gonna have to work through that. Luckily, like with a guy like Devin Carter, depending on it seems like clearly Doug's gonna go with the hot hand. Whoever is playing well, and the 5 to close the game: Keon Ellis, Domas, Malik, Demar, and De'Aaron. He's going to ride that hot hand defensively and possibly offensively. He did it with Devin Carter in Boston. Tonight, he does it with Keon Ellis. So it's an exciting time. It could be a 6 seed. I don't know. They just got to keep winning one at a time. And if they do, they're on a very good trajectory.
And I want to, let other people talk here, but fascinating to not have Keegan in there. I'm thinking this team is playing like that top 6 seed we thought they would be at this point. Could they make it to the 6 seed? That's a huge climb. But one leg at a time.
Game at a time, baby. I agree. Hey, Dirk, thanks.
Light the beam.
Light the damn beam. Yeah, you see, I charged my beam. It's lit.
It's lit.
All right, brother. Be well.
Later.
Thanks, Dirk. Dirk brings up an interesting point really quick. Thank you, MMA Forever. If this continues, Christie Coach of the Year? No, not even close. That's going to be Kenny Atkinson in Cleveland. Hands down. What do they have? 4 losses? My guess, 33-4. It's going to be Kenny Atkinson, especially because that team didn't change much. It's pretty much the same cast of guys. A couple of things. We had the conversation here on the show or on the pregame show about when is Doug Christie going to get his flowers? And I think it's too early still to give Doug Christie his bouquet of flowers and say, look, you're going to be the coach of the Kings from now on. But some of the things that I wanted to see, what I've heard from other people around the team that cover the team, X's and O's, can the team adjust? And they clearly did that today. Dropping into that zone defense with Zach LaVine, giving him a couple of different looks in the second half. What Dirk pointed out with Josh Giddey, letting him have a little bit more of a path to the basket. Those were all major positive shifts. I mean, Doug went to that zone. And again, I'll go back to it. The Kings, I thought the play that really changed this game, it was 2 offensive rebounds, a missed 3. Trey Lyles, who did not shoot the ball well whatsoever, this was in the third quarter, ends up scrapping for a rebound. They kick out. They get a triple there, which spurs a really good run to end the third quarter. And from that point on, momentum was in the Kings' hands. LaVine, the Bulls tried to take it back at times, and they weren't able to do it. Ultimately, the Kings win their 7th straight in a row here. They head to Milwaukee on Tuesday to go 3-0 possibly on this road trip. They are a game over 500. I can't believe we're saying this, but 7 in a row for the Kings, sitting in the 9 seed in the Western Conference as we speak. And is there better timing for this to happen? Your first national television game is against Houston when you return home. How about the timing there? That'll be Thursday. Let's go back to the phones. Tin, what's going on today?
Hello, Ryno.
What's up, Tin?
Hey, I got you on the big screen.
Love it, man. Thank you. Sorry, you got to look at my mug.
Your mug, you have a lot of accessories. I appreciate the piano. My sister knows how to play that. And the Kings, hey, let's light another beam for visually aesthetics and to hear them count down and to actually light it. I live 30 minutes walking distance from Doe Code, Brian.
Yep.
And so I still have to go to my first game.
You haven't been to a game?
Hook me up.
Dude, you haven't been to a game? You're in like every show here. You've never been to a Kings game, or at least a game with the beam?
This season, I went to a concert before a hoop game.
Dude. All right, man. We'll talk offline. You need to get your butt to a game. Anyway, actually, stay away from the games, man. They're winning right now. I take that back, Tin. Wait till they start losing.
Respect.
So, any takes on the game? Anything you want to talk about?
I have no idea what they're playing today, although you say that since 2022, that's a couple of years. Or make that 3!
Yes, yes. It's been a couple of years. Now, this wasn't the best win of the last couple of years, but arguably the win against Boston was definitely the best win in the last couple of years. Hey, Tin, get to a game. We'll talk soon. Good job by Tin there. So really quick, as I bring you back in, I want to point this out. One thing that started to worry me a little bit was the score in this one, because you look at what the Kings have done in this 7-game winning streak. They gave up 100, 107, 133. That was the Memphis game. 99, 118, which was in double overtime, mind you. 97 to Boston and 119 tonight. If you didn't catch the earlier show, coming into tonight, the Kings in the previous 6 games before tonight, top net rating in the league at 12.2, defensive rating number 1 in the last 6 games, defensive rebounding percentage first in the NBA, overall rebounding percentage first in the NBA as well. So certainly those numbers will continue to stay in the same neighborhood, if not go up a little bit. As for De'Aaron Fox, he had a pretty good game. Crafty, I thought the fact that he had been out and dealing with the injury that he had to deal with, he didn't look too gassed, which was good. Every starter in double digits, that is balance right there. Now, you don't have a double-digit score off the bench, but arguably Trey Lyles, although the points don't show it, 6, he had 8 rebounds. He had 2 assists. He had 1 block. Trey Lyles was massive for this team tonight, doing the little things, getting to the 50-50 balls. Leading scorer, De'Aaron Fox with 26. I've got some positives that we still haven't talked about. I've also got a few negatives that I think need to be cleaned up. But all in all, a huge win again for the Kings, 124-119. Again, the third quarter, really turning this one around. Bokki, what's going on tonight? What's up, brother?
Light the beam, Sacramento Kings win.
Wow.
That was a party. It was a party right here.
God,
It gets wild around here without names.
It was wild. It was screaming. It was crazy. Those games, very early beginnings, are great for us. You can imagine. It's 9 p.m., 10 p.m. Great time for basketball.
Absolutely.
Look at the shirt.
no!
Look at that shirt. Look at that shirt.
Look
man.
at that. Rocking the Domas, the old number 10. So
Baby.
What's going on, you guys? What'd you like from the game?
Well, how can I say? I was really sad when they got
Levine,
more
when Levine
points.
got 35, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Then I was really mad, so I go to my room. But when we win, I was like, yes! Hey,
Yep.
what are you doing?
Yeah, well, I will only be short. So,
Yeah.
what we have already said, ball movement. What happening in last 7-8 games is crazy ball movement. So no problems at all. When you got, so if you don't have Levine shooting like that, the game will be, it will be over maybe in the third. But the guy is crazy. I mean, those kind of shooting, I never saw this season from anybody.
Yeah, it was a great display of shooting. He made some hard shots. The Kings made him work even on some of those. So credit to him. I think Katie said it during the broadcast. It's one of the first years in a while that he's been healthy. But also Lonzo Ball. He shot the ball really well tonight too.
Yeah, he's back from injury and he's better and better. If the season starts right now, it will be another story for Chicago Bulls, definitely. With that Alonzo Ball and with this Levine, I mean, it's crazy. But anyway, 7 games, you don't see those one-on-one basket from Fox. Everybody is standing and everybody is waiting for him to do something. This is crazy. Ball movement, moving without the ball. We can talk till the morning. So great things happening to this team right now.
I agree. Hey, Tedora, send us
Hi.
off with your holy moly.
Oh yeah, sure. Holy moly, Jimbaboli.
Let's go,
Good
Kings.
job. All right, go Kings. Bokki and Todora all the way from Serbia, hooking us up with their presence. Really appreciate it. Again, big night for the Kings. Talking about the ball movement, the Kings finish with 33 assists. 33 assists. Leading assist leader, believe it or not, Malik Monk with 9, Domas with 8. Foxy, 3 assists, a couple of turnovers. Turnovers are actually not bad for the Kings tonight. Kept it pretty clean. Chicago only turned it over 8 times. And I think that's what kind of surprised me about this one, because the Kings have been feasting off of turnovers. They've been turning defense into offense. And today they only had 13 points off of the turnovers by Chicago, which again were relatively low, 8. And for the Kings, an assist to turnover ratio, 33-7, that is going to win you a lot of basketball games. A ton of basketball games. A couple of the differences, because I know this is going to come up about having De'Aaron Fox back rather than having Keon Ellis in the starting lineup. I thought one of the differences that you saw was not as much denial on the wings, like we had talked about in previous games. I also thought the entry pass to Zach LaVine in the third quarter, and it tightened up a little bit in the fourth, but especially early third and definitely in the first half, were just too easy. And the Kings had been taking that away to a degree, pressuring the ball handler. I thought that pressure was not as great, but also it makes up for itself in other ways. That play that Fox made, being able to drag off, being able to kind of gamble, which he did on Vucevic, and get that ball and have it go off Vucevic was huge for the Kings down the stretch. Also, how about them continuing to hit their free throws? 17-21 tonight. They only sent the Bulls to the line 20 times. So this is the second or third game in a row that we have seen a very quick first half, meaning the Kings are playing a little bit of physical basketball without a lot of fouling, which is really good. And I go back to what a lot of you were saying in the chat. Domantas Sabonis, a monster again tonight. 16 rebounds overall, 8 assists, 22 points. Keegan Murray starting to find his way as well, 14 points there. He was 3 of 8 from beyond the arc. But the third quarter, to me, is really where this thing changed. And all the credit in the world to Doug Christie and his staff for putting in that zone. That is when the Kings went on their run. In fact, the Bulls had just gotten their largest lead of the game. We'll go back to the numbers really quick, at 8 points. And that's when they decided to zone the Bulls. And the possessions ends up going like this. The Kings, told you about the one that I felt like really changed the game, where it was 2 offensive rebounds, a missed 3, and then a scramble for the ball. You get it back, and the Kings hit a 3 there. But after that, the Kings convert on 9 of 7 possessions to end the third quarter, giving them a 2-point lead headed into the fourth. In fact, that quarter, they only held Chicago to 32. 24 is what they held them to in the fourth quarter. That's the second time now in the fourth quarter that we've seen the Kings kind of strangle a team. And I know 24 is not strangling, but when you look at Chicago, who scored 30 in the first quarter, 33 in the second quarter, and 32 in the third, 24 is a drastic difference. So give us your thoughts on this one. We can start to talk about Milwaukee, what that's going to look like. We can also begin talking about the rest of the NBA. Obviously, there's also football going on today, depending whether you are a Packers fan or whether you are an Eagles fan. Let you decide whether you are happy or not. As we sit right now, the Eagles up 10-0 at halftime on the Packers. So if you want to mix in a tiny bit of football, we can do that too. Let's go back to the phones. PK, welcome into the post-game show. You there, PK?
Oh. Hi,
PK's connection isn't good. PK, maybe try going off video and do audio only. That might help the bandwidth there. As for the rest of you, let's hit the chat up as well. Let's try PK one more time. PK, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Are you here?
There you go, brother. Gotcha.
Hey, well.
Well.
How do you like them apples?
I mean,
Listen.
winning apples are usually pretty good. Yeah.
Hey, listen. Like my dog passed away today, and
I'm sorry to hear that, brother.
And it was like such a rough day. And then I saw the Kings game, and man, I'm so glad that I have Kings in my life. And what I wanted to say, Ryan, we don't talk enough about Ellis. Like, I have a few points. Ellis in the starting lineup, what a crazy journey that guy has had. He has changed our team altogether. You know, just the way he talks to Sabonis, him, Malik Monk, even Murray. You can see in timeouts, they talk defense. They're like, hey, I want you in that spot. I want you in that spot. It's such a beautiful thing to see. Also, another thing is when we start first quarter, right, it's a completely different team. First quarter, third quarter, and then just fight. And that's all I have to say. And goodbye, guys.
Hey, appreciate you, PK. Sorry to hear about your dog, brother. That is rough, really rough. Pets I should say, be like family members. I said are because ours is definitely like a family member. Although I wish he didn't shed as much as he sheds. But the Kings are
Like winning.
winning right now. They're getting their Charlie Sheen on 7 in a row, a game over 500. Let's get to the chat. Let's tackle some of these. Seems like Keegan is back. Definitely closer to the Keegan Murray that we are used to seeing. Still a little bit of ways to go, and that can go really many different ways. I think the defense has always been there for a sense with him, but offensively, the ball movement helps things. There's no doubt about that. And even having De'Aaron Fox on the court, if he's not cutting and he doesn't have the ball, you still have to pay a lot of attention to him. And I thought that was a big point of what the Bulls were doing. As you saw, they started to double DeRozan towards the end of the game. I did not like the shot selection at the end of this one. In fact, I thought DeMar and Malik had two bad decisions there in the final minutes. However, the Kings were able to make up for it on the defensive end. It's something that you're going to have to live with at times with both of those guys. I mean, Malik Monk, though, to have a guard that is running this offense and being that creator, it's so important with this team concept of basketball, this ball movement, this simplicity. And Katie pointed it out a few times that they're playing off of each other, which is very true. They do have some different sets. And again, I give the coaching staff all the credit in the world in this one, especially for the adjustment that Jerry Reynolds called for at halftime, which was playing some more zone defense. That changed the course of the game. That was what allowed the Kings to stack some stops. In fact, when the Kings went to the zone defense, here's what happened. Miss two. They sent them to the free throw line twice. Then it was miss two. The Bulls ended up getting 2 points. They got double there, missed 3, and then 2. So they were able to stack about 5 possessions back to back that allowed them to get back in this game, take the lead at the end of the third quarter, 97-95. What are you talking about? No credit for Fox. What are you talking about? I know you're not talking to me. I just was giving De'Aaron Fox credit 10 minutes ago, my man. 10 minutes ago. Let's see. 7 freaking wins in a row. Crazy. PK getting some love about the dog passing. Fur baby. They're like that for so many people. Indeed. Who said we're going to trade Sabonis? I haven't heard that flying around too much. Went into panic mode. Okay, now we're talking about dogs. Yeah, I love how that goes. What grade would you all give integrating Fox back into this thing today. Did it seem any different to you? Was there any concerns? Did you like it better? Let me know what you think. My only thing that I would say about Fox coming back today, and again, he was tremendous, especially down the clutch. I thought he got better as the game went on. He led the Kings in scoring with 26. He goes 9 from 16 from the field, 4 of 8 from beyond the arc. Very efficient night. My only thing would be assists. I'd like to see those assist numbers go up. He finishes with 3 assists, 2 turnovers. Not terrible, but I would like to see that improve a little bit more. But other than that, for a first game back, couldn't really ask for much more. And a huge 3-pointer again to put the Kings on top at the end of the third quarter. See, this is crazy. I call you all the best and most knowledgeable fans in the association. And inevitably, every post game, every single one, it's either one side of the spectrum or it's the other. It's nothing in between. Lyles was trash today. Clearly, you do not know how to watch basketball, Hang. Lyles was not trash today. Did he shoot the ball well? No. He was 3 of 10 from the floor. But did you look at everything else he did in terms of hustle, 50-50 balls, deflections? Trey was all over the place. So not trash today. You got to go back and watch that game one more time. Let's see. Again, if you'd like to call the show, would love to hear from you on this post-game show. The Kings get ready to head to Milwaukee. Back in action again on Tuesday, looking for their, let me check myself, 8th game in a row. The Kings are a game over 500 in the 9th spot in the Western Conference as we speak. 7 in a row. Incredible. Yeah, exactly, Al. Like, what are we talking about here? What are we talking about? David, getting closer to the trade deadline. What date is quote unquote panic mode if no moves have been made after the trade deadline? That is when it's panic mode, my man. Most of these moves, rarely are you going to see a big move far before the deadline. And because you have so many big names that are on the market or allegedly going to be on the market this year, teams are going to wait to see 2 things. The first is, how strong is the market going to be? And when I mean strong, I mean, what does compensation look like? If one of those big names gets traded, does the other team get a ton of compensation? Is it below market value? That's the first thing that you're going to look for. The second thing that you're going to look for is teams that realize the other teams that may be in their conference, maybe in their division, when they see that one of those teams might be getting better, if they do make an early trade, you're going to see a scramble by certain teams to try to make a move because somebody else made a move. Many think that's going to be a very active trade deadline. I agree. I do think it's also going to be a very active trade deadline. And I think you may see some teams that shake things up considerably. So that's going to be the measuring stick for the deadline and what I am looking for, because it could either be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on whether you are a buyer or a seller. One thing that I would say is, I know you don't want to make a trade just to make a trade, but the Kings are definitely in a position still, regardless of them winning 7 in a row, and regardless of them climbing back, and I give them all the credit in the world, the players and the coaches, not just Doug Christie, Jay Triano, Luke Laux, the entire staff, this team is still not good enough to get over that championship hump. Now, you're not going to make that up in one deadline, but I would expect that the Kings need to do something to make themselves a little bit better. And then certainly the big question that's looming is De'Aaron Fox. Expectations there. Do you think he gets moved at the deadline? I don't think he gets moved at the deadline. I think it's more of an off-season kind of move if they do make it. But who knows? Y'all listened to the interview with Monty that was aired a couple of days ago. So you can judge off of what he is saying. Kings should be a seller. Well, here's the thing, Michael. You don't know what teams want. And like I said, let's say there's a run in the Eastern Conference on guys. Let's say a big guy moves to the East and it changes the balance between 4 and 8 in the playoff seedings, or at least with those teams, could change the balance. That's when you could see possibly value go up for a guy like Kevin Huerter, a guy like Trey Lyles, or conversely, no moves, you might not have much value at all. So the same names, what I'm hearing, it's the same names the Kings are shopping around, and the Kings are active. They are looking. They have been one of the more active teams looking around at different options. But as I am hearing, it's much of the same that what we've heard the last couple deadlines. Kevin Huerter, Trey Lyles, especially now that Lyles is going to be in the last year of his contract, or he is in his last year right now. So could he help a team? But again, you got to find a team that wants those guys as well. So it goes both ways. I would like to see ideally in this one, or with this team, a John Collins from Utah. Somehow trying to get a player like that can go on the front line, especially with the second unit. I think that would be extremely helpful for this team. Chaco Tech, do we trade Fox because he does not want to sign an extension, or because we need to improve the team? It's a great question. And it's really where the front office has to have a incredible beat on where Fox is at with wanting to sign an extension. They need to be in lockstep. And I'm not talking about partners with, I'm talking about they need to be following as closely as they can what Rich Paul's stance is, what De'Aaron's stance is, because that is where, and I used the analogy just a couple of days ago, this team, this front office, Monty McNair, Wes Wilcox, owner to a degree, Vivek, they're Nick Wallenda right now. They are on a tight high wire that's attached to 2 skyscrapers without that little bar that balances you, and they're walking it because the intersection is, does Fox's value possibly diminish the closer you get to the expiration of his contract on the trade market? We don't know the answer to that yet. Historically, yes, the closer you get to the end of a contract, value typically goes down. But at the same time, if there is a trade out there that can make this team better with De'Aaron on it, does that move De'Aaron's needle closer to wanting to stay with Sacramento? And he's going to want to see a sample size because he's made it pretty clear. He wants to win and not just make the playoffs. He wants to win. So when I say this front office is walking that high rope or the high wire, it's strictly because you have no commitment from De'Aaron, and you got to be careful about going all in and assuming that you're going to have De'Aaron here when you make those moves. So tough position to be in for them. And very well, they could make a move, and that takes the Kings over the top with De'Aaron, and De'Aaron's ready to sign his name right to the piece of paper, or it could be the opposite. And now you've given away some pieces, maybe like a Devin Carter, because let's be real about it. You're not going to get a player that's going to take this team over the top in exchange for Kevin Huerter and Trey Lyles. It's very unlikely. You're going to have to give something up. So, tough one for them. So it's something that they need to monitor very well. Need a solid starting 5 upgrade to Len. Look, Alex Len's not playing right now. Trey Lyles is the one getting those minutes. And to a degree, Keegan Murray has also been asked to play a little bit of center at times. So do you, honestly, let's ask that question. Do you need a bigger five to come in and step in and play, or could play, this type of basketball that this team's playing right now? Really tough question, Devin. Seeing Keon, Malik, Carter play well makes me feel better about trading Fox. Donald, I've been saying for days that I am not a Fox hater. It's just I don't care if we trade him or not. Fair enough. So everybody's kind of got their opinion. And that's going to continue, whether you win 7 in a row or you lose 7 in a row. But the fact is, this team, 7 games in a row, a game over 500, and they seek their 8th in a row on Tuesday against Milwaukee. I think Dirk's coming back for a second helping. What's up, Dirk?
What's up, man? I didn't want to take up too much time, but I want to talk Devin Carter.
Yeah, go for it.
Because part of me, like, if people are talking about Fox, and I posted in chat, I think if you could get yourself a backup center and a starting caliber 4 for Fox right now, work out the numbers, but I'd pull the trigger on that situation. And I wouldn't want Devin Carter to be included in that deal. And here's why. There was one play where Keon Ellis was clamping on defense. I can't remember who he was up against, right? And I've seen this type of play happen a lot, where you see one of our top defenders, totally take out a guy head up, and then the Kings don't get the rebound. Does that sound? Do you agree that's sometimes familiar with this team?
Yeah, especially if they're in a zone defense. But go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm glad it's not only me, right? And it's not Sabonis that's at fault there. Usually Sabonis is at a stalemate with another center, and somebody else on the team needs to be there to get that board. And to me, that is Devin Carter. I like, in this style of offense, a guard that rebounds is so incredibly valuable that I think Devin Carter is just going to be such a winner in this league in his role. Like, so far what I've seen, he's got the penetration. He has demonstrated the ability to get fouled, right? That's a critical component of a point guard when things aren't going well, to be able to draw a foul. Yeah. He's good assists. He's not making too many mistakes with the ball in his hand. There's some 3 seconds, a couple 3-point fouls. That is, to me, learning the league. Mm-hmm. But the foundation is there of this guy who is ready to contribute. He's playing meaningful minutes. If you compare him to, let's say, Davion Mitchell, 4 games into his career, I mean, I know it was a few years ago, Davion Mitchell had the clamps right as soon as he stepped on the floor. But I don't think I ever felt like he could run the offense. Or flowed.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. Look, a couple big differences. One, Devin has the NBA pedigree because of his dad. Here's the other thing that we're not talking about. He healed way quicker than anybody expected. And I think one thing that benefited him greatly was being around the team as much as he did. He could have done his rehab somewhere else. He was around the building. He traveled with the team. I think Devin can run this team in situations, but as of today, not a chance. But if you notice, this team wasn't even using its guards at times tonight to run the team. They were using DeMar DeRozan. They were using other guys. So
there's less reliance on a traditional point guard, right?
There is, but I'm going to counteract that by saying I think this team plays at its best when you have a traditional point guard or something closer to that on the floor at all times.
And you're basing that on Malik Monk.
100%.
And you can see it. And he's a part of this team, right? So if you have point guard by committee, you want role-playing guys who can make an impact in these situations. I say one of the things I noticed about Fox, me personally, the energy looked down. Like the moment, not it wasn't as high pace, and it's understandable why that might be, because he's coming back from an injury. But it didn't exactly flow the same way.
No,
It
it
was
didn't.
good,
Yeah.
but it wasn't a machine operating. The team wasn't a machine operating in optimum situations, right? And that's the hard thing. If we start trading away pieces, you're gonna break some of this chemistry too with the
Right.
guys that where you can see it. But I'm not gonna say I wouldn't give Devin Carter away for anything, but man, I really want to see more minutes. Have we even really seen Devin Carter and Keon Ellis on the floor on the defensive side?
Yeah, you saw it a couple of games ago. You saw it a little bit in Boston, although Devin got the minutes really down the stretch, and Keon turned to Doug when Doug was going to turn to Keon and say, "I'm going to keep him in." So definitely a different mentality there. But I think, Dirk, that was kind of the point I was trying to make earlier about Levine getting going. The last few games, those entry passes, like the Steph Curry game against the Warriors, they made that entry pass to Curry hard, not only because they were face guarding Curry, but the man that was guarding the ball was defending the hell out of him. And you don't get that every possession from De'Aaron. There's this idea that De'Aaron's a great defender. De'Aaron's a great defender in spots. He is a great help defender when he gets his mind into it or gets pissed off and he gets up in somebody's business. He's really good then, but it's the in between where I think there's little areas for improvement there. And to be able to enable De'Aaron to be in that position, Dirk, to be that great help defender, you need what you just said. You need a Devin Carter, a Keon Ellis. Even Malik Monk, to a degree, is not that guy. So you need those guys pressuring ball to free De'Aaron up to be at his best.
Well, here's what I'll say. I agree. You and I are on such the same page with Fox, right? I don't think he's a great defender, especially off ball. Case in point, the game that cost Mike Brown his job. But if you're looking for some evidence of, that kind of stuff. But one thing I will say is Malik Monk had a couple off-ball steals on Zach tonight. Did you notice that? Like, he would penetrate the lane and he was doing the same thing, but Malik was right there. And there was at least two where I saw he stripped the ball off of him. And Malik is just continually improving. Like, he is getting better and better. He's still, I feel like his mistakes are way down. There were some minor ones this game.
Yeah.
But that he's reached this peak of like free flow, split-second decisions, but he's found a way to like check himself in many of the mistakes that used to drive me crazy the last couple of years. Have you noticed that as well? Or do you think it's the same?
No, I think it's been better. I thought early in the season it was there, but since he's entered the starting lineup, it's been way better. In fact, he's been hovering around the best assist to turnover ratio on the team since entering the starting lineup. So I'm with you.
And his chemistry with Sabonis, when Sabonis just sets those little screens in the paint, once Malik penetrates or somebody gets in and Sabonis just like stops the center from being able to contest the shot. Right. Man, that looks beautiful.
Well, anyway. Hey, Dirk, really quick. There's no
Sure.
arguing this. I put the stats up. Malik Monk and Domantas Sabonis make each other better. When you put the two-man combination stats up for the season, their net rating is a 6.2 together. De'Aaron Fox and Domas, it's a 3.2. So there's a reason for that. They use each other. So the argument is, do you need more guards like that to get the most out of Sabonis rather than, and it's not just a Fox thing, it's the style of guard that De'Aaron Fox is. They don't use their screens a lot. It's a lot more one-on-one. It's closer to a Harden and a Westbrook rather than, Jalen Brunson, that type.
We're seeing peak Sabonis right now, and
yes,
that's really the anchor of what you need to center this team around.
100%.
If he is ever to win in the NBA, what he's giving them on the boards, like scoring, we could have got a lot more scoring out of him down low tonight just by getting them those opportunities, but that's not probably statistically the right approach. He's able to find the ball, some plays this game when Fox wasn't on the floor, the ball movement was crazy good. It just seemed like the right play was happening.
I hear you. Hey, Dirk.
I know you got to go, man.
I got to cut, but thanks, brother. I appreciate it. All right. Gotta have Dirk on the pod one day. Him and I talk really good basketball sometimes. Okay, Rich, you're right. Maybe the stats say I'm wrong. The win-losses don't. The playoff appearances don't. Stats are great. They only matter if you're winning. Go spend your career in Charlotte and average 30 a game. The stats that you might be looking at point to you being right. The win-losses tell a different story. And I get half of the wins of this win streak were with De'Aaron. Half of them are not. In fact, more have been with him rather than without him. This isn't a De'Aaron. I made this comparison last show. This is not saying that with De'Aaron Fox, this team is incredible. With De'Aaron Fox, this team's more than incredible. It's not saying anything along those lines. What we are saying is there's a distinct difference. Just like there's a difference between a filet mignon and a ribeye. Both are excellent. Both are really good, but they have their differences. And that's why when you look at personnel, that's what you make the decision based off of. Which style or which cut is better for that personnel? Where does the personnel thrive? And that's the difficult decision this front office has to make. And the stats absolutely show that Malik Monk gets the most out of Sabonis, way more out of Sabonis than De'Aaron Fox does. And it's nothing against De'Aaron. I don't want to make this conversation about De'Aaron. It's the style of guard that De'Aaron is. It's who he has always been. But that's why Sacramento right now is asking the question, is it the best style of play for everybody else that you have? How does it affect the rest of the core if you keep that style with a style that you keep this style that De'Aaron plays that takes away from the best style for everybody as a team? That is literally the conversation that is going around right now. So you have a good problem to have. The only bad thing about this problem is that you have an expiration date with De'Aaron Fox. You have an expiration date. His contract expires at the end of this year. And he has made it very clear that he wants to win. And I think what you saw clearly with Mike Brown, by his comments publicly, he thought there was more De'Aaron Fox could do to help this team win. Sure, this team needed help on the back end. Yes, they need a better bench. They still need to make some moves, right? But Mike Brown was more focused on De'Aaron. You need to be better too. So do you see the crossroads there? So it's an interesting talk. Again, we can keep having it, but I'll get you your response. Let's be fair. Yes, Fox and Sabonis led us to the playoffs, not Monk and Sabonis. They led you to the playoffs one time, my man. One time in 7 years. One time in 7 years. I guess like what's so insane to me is that part of this fan base is just so closed-minded to the idea of basketball without De'Aaron Fox. And even talking about basketball without De'Aaron Fox triggers this defensive reaction, even after you have won 3 straight games without him. Do you see what I'm saying? You have to take a holistic approach and look at the entirety of what you have and what they do best. That's all that they're saying. That's all that we're trying to say. Not saying which one's better, but that's the discussion that's happening right now. And guys, Fox, and especially his agent, is not necessarily prioritizing the goodness of the Kings. This is a business decision to trade him. That's the point. Like, if you are a De'Aaron Fox fan, if you're saying, just like Rich is, that they led us to the playoffs, Fox and Sabonis. Okay, Rich, here's what I'm going to tell you. If that led you to the playoffs, Rich, and you're seeing another person that gets way more out of that person, that player in Sabonis, where could that possibly lead you? Okay? Where could that possibly lead you? Because that opportunity was not given to that person because of that coach. But you are at this critical time as a franchise where you could blow this thing up, as Dirk talked about. And this is not completely on De'Aaron's shoulders. This is also on the front office because of the lack of moves made around the fringes over the past 2.5 seasons. But you are at a point, Rich, where De'Aaron Fox wants to win. And you're going to do everything you can, including possibly moving pieces that could be part of this decent future, this good future, a Devin Carter, a Keegan Murray. And then you could have De'Aaron Fox walk away for nothing or decide, you know what? I don't like it as much. Trade me. Now what? Where's the franchise left? So the question is, before you get to that point, how can the Kings keep the leverage in their court? How does that happen? And I know we're getting way off track, but it's way more complex than what we're talking, than just at face value. De'Aaron Fox was under contract for another 4 years. Completely different discussion. Completely different discussion. Let's go back to the phones. Phil, what's going on tonight?
Hey, what's up, Ryno? How you doing, man?
Good. What's up, Phil?
Hey, dude. I mean, it boggles my mind. Get mad when the Kings are doing good, and it doesn't make any sense to me. It really doesn't. I mean, we got to embrace this winning streak that we're on right now. It's great. The Kings are rolling, and like I said the other night with you and Grant, Doug Christie is pressing the right buttons right now, and
yes, he
continue
is
to in this game right now. I mean, the timeouts he took, times he got the team rallied. I mean, the team is playing for him right now, and I think you add De'Aaron Fox into there, that's got to make your team better, right? I mean, we won, what was it, 3 or 4 games without him. Now he's back. That should make your team better, right?
correct. Can you hear me? We're losing Phil.
Yeah.
We're losing Phil. Phil, yes, it should make the team better. Absolutely. It should make the team better. And they won today. All that matters is you win. 124, 119, 7 in a row, looking for 8 in a row Tuesday in Milwaukee. Yes, they won today. Now, the evaluation is going to be between the styles of play as you continue to have De'Aaron in. Does it hurt to have Keon off the court more? Do you need Devin more, but you can't get those minutes? Those are the evaluations that are going to happen. And it's not an assumption that De'Aaron's going to leave. I'm reading some of the comments here. There's no assumption. If you watch this show, and I hate that this is becoming about De'Aaron Fox, but it's where we're at here in Sacramento. That this conversation, this season, changed after the Draymond Green podcast, after the back and forth with Mike Brown in the media. So we are here now, the Ramona Shelburne article. So unfortunately, we're going to have to keep hitting this. But if you've watched this show for a while and you've been on this platform, I'm on the record as far back as this offseason saying that I think you can have better team basketball in Sacramento without De'Aaron Fox. So it's nothing new. You can go back and watch those shows. Nothing. It's not a witch hunt against De'Aaron Fox. It's not my stamp of approval not being on De'Aaron Fox. It's none of those things. Again, filet mignon and ribeye. What's your preference? I think with the cast that you have right now in Sacramento, it's better with the team basketball and the ball movement. And you could argue that part of that is DeMar DeRozan as well. But all that aside, let's talk about this. The Kings won 124-119, 7 in a row. Speaking of filet mignon, speaking of ribeye, I've got the place for you. You hungry? Go to Bennett's. Yes, Bennett'sRestaurants.com, the West Side Grill, the newest of their 3 locations in Rockland, located in the Blue Oaks Town Center. Anybody make it out for brunch this weekend? They've got weekend brunch, one of our favorites here in this household. Also, didn't make it for brunch? Don't worry. They've got their prime rib special on the weekends as well. You can get there tonight. Still enough time. Also, great deals during the week, whether it's happy hour 2 to 6 o'clock Monday through Friday or wine and dine Monday nights. Bennett's has all of your dining needs covered. Prime cuts of seafood and steak. And if you're thinking about getting together with a group and you don't want to have a couple of tables pushed together, Bennett's can reserve one of their private dining rooms for you and take care of the entire party. Same great food, same great service. Or if you want to have it at home, they'll take care of that as well. Check out the text message that I just got the other day from Brian Bennett, owner of one of the parties that they catered. They could do this for you too.
I don't know about you, but if you're thinking about having a holiday party or a party of any kind, and you don't ask us to make our house smoked salmon, to grill our prime New York steak, to grill long stem artichokes, to make ahi pokey. What are you talking about? You're gonna have a party and you're not gonna call Bennett's and take care of you? My goodness gracious. Give us a call. We can make this for Easter, we can make it for Christmas, we can make it for anybody's birthday.
So make that phone call. Get the phone number at Bennett'sRestaurants.com. 3 locations and all in the greater Sacramento area. Huge thanks to them for sponsoring, in part, the post-game show today. Also, don't forget about New Works Plumbing. They've got a fix for you no matter the time of day, whether it's big or small. Give them a call at 916-713-1010. Also, we've had New Works out to the house as well. Awesome people. Know what they're talking about. Incredibly courteous and polite when it comes to being in your home, and did an excellent job. Not only did a great job on the problem, but were able to diagnose and treat some other problems that we were not aware about before they actually became a problem and leaked. So go to sacserviceplumbing.com. Again, New Works Plumbing, they've got a fix for you. 916-713-1010. Thanks to them for also sponsoring the postgame show in part tonight. Wow, Kings 7 in a row. You deserve this. All of you deserve this. I am so happy for this fan base. And look, a game over 500. You can start talking about play-ins. You can start talking about playoffs. You can start talking about a trade deadline that actually matters. Man, what a different vibe and feel around this team right now. And it moves on to Milwaukee on Tuesday. And then again, the Kings, national television, first time on TNT this year, at home against the Rockets after that. Appreciate the super chat. Thank you very much, Desco. Do you think teams near contention or below the luxury tax should trade for Zach LaVine, even though his contract is bad? It's a very good question. It depends on their outlook, and it depends on what their long-term picture is, because Zach LaVine's contract, to put it kindly, is filthy. And it's just not even filthy this year. It's filthy for years to come. And it has a clause in it that if he is traded, that he gets a raise. There's a percentage that is raised. To give you an idea, he's making $43 million this year. just over 43 million. Next year, 45.9, so 46. And then the year after that, 48.9, basically 49 million. So if you are a team, like if you're the Warriors, maybe, I don't think so though, because Steph Curry, I don't think that meshes well. But if you're a team that thinks that you have maybe a 2-year window, then yeah, it could make sense, because with the new CBA, that's the hiccup. And you make a great point with the luxury tax, the penalties that are attached to the different aprons when you are over that number, over the cap, are just really, really detrimental and hard. You can lose draft picks. You can also lose your mid-round exception. And it's a team that has to believe that Levine's going to stay healthy, because if he stays healthy and he plays the way that he's playing, then he could be worth 45.9, basically 46. He could be worth 49 million, because you figure inflation, what contracts will continue to get to by the time we reach the 26-27 season. And if that's the case, and this is the most important thing, then Zach LaVine turns into an asset. And I think that's why the Kings stayed away from Zach LaVine for a couple of different reasons. But in particular, the contract, one of the trademarks of this Monty McNair front office is being flexible, having fluidity, meaning you don't really have a bad contract on the books that you're locked into, where if we have to hit the reset button, there's not a single guy on this team that we couldn't trade without a significant consequence. And as we sit today, Zach LaVine, or as the Kings sat in this offseason, that would have been Zach LaVine. But if he keeps playing this way, then what looks like a liability could slowly turn into an asset. So yeah, there might be a team or two out there. Memphis is possibly a team that comes to mind, depending if they wanted to try an upgrade or change something with Zach LaVine or with Desmond Bane. Although I don't agree with it, I could see it. Another team that comes to mind, the Pelicans. Are they going to blow everything up? Is Zion going to be on the market? What about the Phoenix Suns? That's why I say there's a lot more questions than answers when it comes to this upcoming trade deadline. But I do expect it to be very, very active. But that, for a small market team, that is a tough contract to take on. That is an extremely tough contract to take on. Playoffs? Are we really talking about the playoffs?
That's terrible.
The Fox contract is a distraction. Don't get distracted, Kings fans. Focus on the wins, because losing sucks. Couldn't have said it better. This team, what Doug Christie has instilled in them, again, I go back to a couple of weeks ago, talking to somebody close to the situation, saying the guys are playing more and thinking less, clearly happening on the court. Dirk does bring up a good point. Definitely keep your eye on the starts, the first quarter starts, because it's not so much something that you're going to see show up on offense. It's more the differential you're going to see on defense, where the Kings aren't forcing as many turnovers and getting breaks out of those turnovers. That's where your focus should be with that group. But it's a great problem to have at this point, now that you are a game over 500 and this team heads on to Milwaukee. What's everybody think? Do the Kings go 8-0 and beat Milwaukee too on Tuesday? It's going to be exciting. We will see. He could be. We'll see. Look, this whole notion that De'Aaron Fox is going to make it all NBA, I think we need to move away from that. I don't see any way that he's going to make all NBA this season, especially with the numbers he's putting up right now. And it's not just the numbers, it's how this team is doing. I mean, at best, if the Kings ran off 80% of their games, I still don't think that's enough to put him into that all NBA conversation because of the start. Remember, here in Sacktown, you got to do twice as much to get half of the love nationally. You saw the national media poking holes left and right in this winning streak. So no Sabonis on the All-Star team last year. No Malik Monk is the sixth man. But anyways, great team win for these guys, 124-119. Again, the third quarter, which was spurred really by the bench unit. I go back to the third quarter, about 4 minutes left in the quarter. And also Doug Christie and the coaching staff putting that zone defense in and stopping Chicago, getting some stops back to back and going on that run. The Kings go on a huge run. They go 6 for 13 in the fourth quarter, in the third quarter from beyond the arc. They're up 2 after the third, and they end up pulling this one off 124-119. Amen. No letdown in Milwaukee like last year. I really feel like had the letdown happened, it would have been this game. It should have been this game. And so the fact that the Kings were able to pull this one off, incredible stuff. Love it, love it, love it. Welcome to a game over 500. Welcome to a 7-game winning streak. It is a good time to be a Kings fan. Don't forget, we are back tomorrow. Give us a big thumbs up, a retweet, a like. Would really appreciate it. I know Grant would appreciate it as well. Make sure you tune in tomorrow, 1 o'clock, the Kings Court Live right here. Grant will probably be doing a show as well, talking Kings and NFL football. Speaking of NFL, let's get you a quick update. Tightening up fourth quarter, 16-9. The Eagles lead the Packers, so we'll let you get back to that. Enjoy this one. Enjoy the beam. You deserve it. Put a cherry on the Sunday. The Kings are 7 games in a row and a game over 500, looking to go 3-0 on this road trip and 8 in a row overall on Tuesday against the Milwaukee Bucks. Doug Christie, break us down, coach.
That's big time shit. Together on 3, y'all. 1, 2, 3. Together.
Make it a great rest of the day. Go Kings. Light the beam. We're out. We'll see you tomorrow. Kings Court, 1 p.m.